Hello and welcome to Soul of the Scorpio. I am Elizabeth Hudson and I'm here with Jordan Schaul. We have the privilege and honor today of speaking with the beautiful and lovely Shanit Barr, who is a fitness expert and gorgeous Scorpio, fellow Scorpio, I should say. Welcome, Shanit. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Thank you
Yes.
for joining.
Yeah. So I want to talk to you a little bit. I understand you just got back from traveling in Ibiza.
Yes,
Saying it right. You got to get the.
you did say it right. I cannot say it.
It
So
sounds like I'm a local, um, but that's always a very sweet and sexy, fun summer getaway, right?
it is, it is, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, wonderful. So let what? All right. So I'm October 28th. Jordan is
November 7th.
November
I'm
7th.
November 9th.
November 9th. All right. So you guys are very close.
Yeah.
So getting into the heart of being a Scorpio. So really that is like what we are here to discuss. And first of all, we love being Scorpios. We know that it's, somewhat controversial and we kind of love that too. But really talking a bit about how your experience has been being a Scorpio, how you identify with it, if you identify with it, how much of it kind of matters in terms of the way you relate to relationships, sexuality, your self-confidence, your work as a fitness expert, and inspiring others and being passionate, which I definitely have gotten from you in what you do. Would you say being a Scorpio informs and helps that?
I would say that people born under the Scorpio sign have a lot of intensity and a lot of passion, a lot of dedication, and a lot of loyalty. And these are all characteristics of successful people. I don't think that Scorpios have all those characteristics in any job, but when a Scorpio finds a career or the right career path, they put their guts and soul into it, and very few don't fulfill their um teleology, shall I say.
Yes.
So yeah, it's I feel like when you're born as a Scorpio, you have a lot of this energy growing up and you don't know what to do with it. Usually I think Scorpios are typically hyperactive and inquisitive and a little bit on the daredevil side. So often, depending on what part of the month they're born, they could be very difficult to handle. As I was. But
You're
yeah,
feisty.
I definitely think that once I found, well, when I was in music, forget it. I was like all over the place, passionate, me on stage. I was like kicking and spinning and whatever I needed to do, and tried to be as captivating as I could. And it wasn't like, how do I be captivating? I just feel like as a Scorpio, it just comes naturally, like that fire, that magnetism. It's just kind of inborn from a very young age.
Yes, and it is part of our, yeah, I'm so glad you used the word magnetism. It is very much that we are that, in the same way that they talk about the color, like wearing black, for example, kind of magnetizes people to you. Scorpio has that draw, that ability, to
Yeah.
pull in and attract to us. Uh,
Uh,
go
uh,
ahead.
oh, occasionally I understand Scorpios get together, which is fascinating to me. And Scorpions often, actually not often, they may sting their partner, which is kind of a fascinating
Oops.
construct for me, right? And so when I think of Scorpios, I think of men, but I'm kind of new to learning about Scorpios as women. And even within our culture of Judaism, there's a whole thing on Jewish astrology, etc. So, right.
Yes, there is. Yeah.
And Elizabeth talks about Kabbalistic astrology as well. So I'll let you guys take that away, but I'm fascinated by the dynamic.
Yes. Have you studied Kabbalah as well, Shani?
I have, yes. Not a lot about, astrological signs, but, the concepts. And I do feel like there's like a strong grounding and similarity between Kabbalah and Buddhism. Um, I think Kabbalah is an incredible place to start your spiritual understanding and journey of the universe. But can you explain to me a little bit more about what they say about the signs? Because I don't think I went that deep into it.
Yeah, so when I was studying it here in LA and the center on Robertson, My teacher, Marcus Weston, would talk a lot about different signs. And one day he was discussing things from an astrological perspective. And I've shared this last time, but I think it's fascinating. And someone asked him, what is the most powerful, like, what is the best sign? What is the worst sign? And he said, the answer to both is Scorpio.
Well, it's true.
Right.
It's true. It's true. Scorpio can be your biggest ally and your biggest enemy.
Yeah.
So you have to be sure that you stay on the good side.
And that's what I want to delve into a little bit of like not being afraid of our shadow, right?
Mhm.
I think that's something that it's a little bit unique to Scorpios in that we're willing to look at the parts of ourselves that aren't perfect and that might be
That's
a
true.
little
Hmm.
intense or overbearing or whatever it is, right? We're not afraid of our sexuality.
No,
We have, we're not afraid of being powerful and dynamic and passionate and possessive. We talked a little bit about that as well. But I love that. I love that the idea that it can be both because it is the sign of kind of the extremes, right?
yeah. And now we're going to be talking about the shadow. I do think that if the shadow is not contained and tamed and learned about, that it could be the Scorpio's demise. So I spent a lot of years kind of working through my shadow, understanding it, taming it, in order for me not to be as explosive as I was in my like earlier years as I was growing up, because I was born with this unbridled energy and passion and fire can be good or it can be bad, right? It's
Yeah.
both. So I love the good, but the bad, so like the bad fire felt good in the moment, but I like it didn't feel good after. So the shadow possesses that darkness, and we all have it. No matter how much therapy or healing we do, we all have it. But it's important to understand that as a Scorpio, it's not enough to just accept like this is my darkness. Like you have to also learn how to tame it. And once a Scorpio learns how to tame it, then all the powers are within your control for the most part.
Hmm.
Like because it could go woo like a firework, literally.
Right. That's such a good point because it's making peace with that shadow. It's not denying it or trying to avoid it or ignore it or pretend it's not there, right? And I
Yeah,
think that's a really key element is being able to look at that part of yourself and go, yeah, I get I'm not perfect and that can be really dangerous when I let that part of myself go. But
yeah.
that's part of the self-discipline, right? Of maturing and in terms of a spiritual, like we're talking about the soul aspect why we maybe chose to incarnate as Scorpios this lifetime, if you look at it from that perspective.
I could.
Sure. What does this experience give my soul, right? What
Yeah.
does it teach me? What does it challenge me with? I mean, for me, it could be the jealousy, it could be the like possessiveness, it could be the I want things my way, right? The need to control or
Control
different.
is a big part of about being a Scorpio. Yeah.
Yes.
I wouldn't say I'm possessive. Maybe I used to be. I've you know, I practice, non-attachment. Um, I just feel like to see others as a possession is an unhealthy thing. We should see them as gifts, as light, and you can't hold light in your hand really. So you should always practice allowing people to peacefully let go and make their own choices and just let them be as they are, and that will offer a lot of peace. But yeah, Scorpios are very possessive, very jealous, um and also spiteful, which is something I had to work on. Scorpios are big on revenge, and revenge is part of the shadow of a Scorpio. So once you do enough healing, you learn that revenge doesn't really hurt anybody. Like, well, it hurts people because we're dangerous. But you have to really think of it. Is it worth it? Is it going to make me feel better? And usually it does for like a minute, but then not so much. It karmically, it's not the right choice long term, I think.
For sure. But that's, when you're caught up in the wave of emotion or reaction, right? That can be very tempting to have that momentary, right? I will
Yeah,
get
because a Scorpio can crush you in about a minute and a half with just 10 words, 3 words, 4 words, like that. Boom. You don't have to even think about it. A
sure.
Scorpio will study you. and know all of your weaknesses. And as soon as they feel slighted, if you're dealing with the wrong Scorpio, they will cut you at the knees in no time.
Right,
That's the
right,
sign.
right.
That's why we have a stinger.
For sure. And to your point too, it is very self-destructive, right? Because what we
Yes.
put out, we get back, right? And so we have to be very aware of that. And that's part of the
Yeah.
evolution of a Scorpio. And then also, like to my Kabbalah teacher's point, right? That when you evolve that, meaning when you transcend that urge to be reactive and to be spiteful, you transcend that energy. And in doing so, it's that much more powerful. And you have the ability to heal and to love and to
That's right.
empower,
That's
right?
right.
When you're
It is a very powerful idea
good.
that you know that you can crush someone, but you choose not to. That's more powerful than actually using it. So that's something to be grateful for if you can manage.
That's a beautiful way of putting it. Thank you, Shanit. I love that. Yeah. And how did you like? I want to ask you a little bit. So you said you were a performer, you were a singer.
Yes, I was a singer for many years. I sang the national anthem for the Mets, and I was the lead singer of a rock and roll band, a cover band, for well, no, I think maybe 3 to 5 years. I don't know how many years it was, but it was during COVID, and the band broke up kind of a little after COVID. And I wrote about 32 originals and recorded. I was very passionate about it. Um, yeah, it's not what God wanted for me. God didn't want that for me. What I consider myself to be a spiritual being, and I definitely have like some sort of energy that's always protecting me. And in my work and in my life, if something doesn't happen like a miracle, it's not my path. So that doesn't mean I'm not going to have um, obstacles along the way. But if the obstacles are like they don't make sense,
Right.
then I know time to about face. So I may have been good at it, but it wasn't. My path was to teach and to heal for sure.
Beautiful. Yes, that's interesting. I think I went through a similar thing, having kind of been pulled into the movie industry, and then ultimately feeling like that my calling was to also be of service and to be in healing and spiritual work. So
Well, that's
interesting.
beautiful.
Yeah, that's very cool.
There's an interesting thing about conforming, which is something I was never good at. And I wonder, I always attributed it to different things, but I now see that as a Scorpio, like conforming was never my thing. Like I was always on a different path. I don't know if Rebel Without a Cause resonates with you, but I was kind of like that. And I still perhaps am, but as you get ladies have talked about, I've kind of pulled back the reins a little bit and like I'm not completely willing to go off the deep end. So, oh, that sounds a little pathological, but I definitely was a rebel for sure. It's crazy. And
I mean, there's nothing crazy about wanting to set yourself apart from the crowd. The crowd. I mean, the crowd. I have a term for like the very vanilla, very square kind of like sheep that exist within our society. I call them the walkers because so many people they just follow that straight line and they don't ask any questions and they don't step outside the line because they're fearful about what's on the other side. Is it too big of a risk? Am I going to crash? Am I going to burn? Well, you don't know that. And then you take that leap and you decide to step out of the line and say, what if I do this? What if I do this? I'm not happy just walking forward and back. I'm not happy being around all these people that talk the same talk and walk the same walk and have the same routine. I'm just not happy. Like, what if I dabble my foot a little bit outside? What if I dress a little bit different? What if I challenge the norm and I rise?
Now,
And
does social comparison though ever enter your mind? Like, do you sometimes think, wow, that white picket fence, that normal
yes.
path, like that's what I've struggled with my whole life, right? Which is, you know, I never wanted to be quote unquote normal, but or regular, or
Right.
we call it basic now. Um,
Basic.
and but then when I would go off on this crazy path, I would sometimes be like, oh, God, that looks kind of nice from this vantage point, right?
Yeah, for like a week. and then you'll get antsy, and the grass is always greener, but you've got to choose your grass. You know, no matter what side of the fence somebody's on, they're always looking over to see if it's better over there. And that's just how we are as human beings. So I find myself thinking that also, but I don't see how that would be able to work for me unless I met somebody that kind of is a little bit on the left and the right. I'm happy to meet in the middle, but I'm not going, I wouldn't want to be all the way. Oops. I wouldn't want to be all the way to like the left and then all the way on the right.
Yeah, totally. And I think I would argue that it's very difficult for a Scorpio to be inauthentic. So
It is. It
there is
is.
the trait of authenticity, sometimes a little weird, right? A little off the beaten path. That's a daring element of Scorpio. Do you feel like that's been part of your life, Shanit, where you've been
Yes.
more dancing than others?
I've always had a wild streak, and I mean I still have a wild streak. I love to go out. I love to dance all night. I'm not big on substances. I like to wake up. I like to have my days. I'm not like drowning myself in like these blackout curtains all day. Like
Yeah.
I like to have that balance, but I don't think that I would ever be okay just, you know, just going to dinner for like every night of the weekend and then just going home and like watching Netflix. I need excitement. I need to be around people that love life. And I think that without it, life gets a little boring.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, so how does that your passion now translate into being a fitness expert? Obviously, you're in great shape and you work
Thank
out a
you.
lot. What is your routine like, and what is how has this fed your passionate side?
Uh, can you clarify the question a little bit?
Um, yeah, just how does your being involved in fitness feed your passion and give you that vitality and that excitement?
I absolutely love music. And, you know, I love taking group fitness classes, and I also love training myself.
Yeah.
So, but moving my body has always been this unbelievable feeling of elation for me. And when I discovered it, I was like, this is the best. And I was in the gym like 3 hours a day.
Wow.
And when music didn't work out, I had to think to myself, like, what is the one thing that I wouldn't mind doing? Where would I not mind spending all my days? And it was the gym. So I became a trainer, but really like anything that gives me that surge of that like endorphins and moving and being around people and being social. There's nothing better than that. So as a Scorpio, is it's a very beautiful place to be.
Yes, indeed. Um, and does that make you feel like, in terms of like everyone has the cliched of like, oh, Scorpios are so sexy and they're so into, they're the most sexual sign. They, relate the sign of Scorpio relates to the genitalia. Do you find yourself feeling extra sexy because you're fit and you're into fitness? And does that make you feel even more vital?
I feel like I always had a very strong sexual energy around me. That is for sure. Even as like a young girl. Like I mean, I men didn't know how old I was when I was, you know, like 13, 14. So I think that Scorpio women are generally sexual by nature, and they have like this aura around them, and it's an aura of confidence, and it's an aura of mystery and seduction.
I love every time I'm going to think of a word, you say it. Oh, I was going to say magnetism. You said. I was going to say confidence. You said it. So yes,
Well,
we
you
are
know that
right there.
Scorpios are telepathic,
That's
and they
very
have a lot of spiritual gifts, as do I, which actually developed in the last few years. So I could be picking up on it. Perhaps there's a connection that we don't know about, and I could be kind of just feeling your energy and just what you're saying. I'm feeling, and it just comes out.
yeah. We're sending it. Tell us a little bit about the spiritual gifts you've developed. I'd love to hear that.
Well, years ago, about 12 years ago, my grandfather passed away. And I always had the telepathy, and I had a little bit of like, I was prophetic. So um, if somebody that was close to me was feeling something, I would feel it, and I would have to reach out to them and be like, "Are you okay?" And they would know. But things would just come out of my mouth when I meet someone, and it was like not really from me. So I didn't know this, but I was like being groomed by by like the other another dimension. When my grandfather passed away, 6 days after he passed away, I went to the tub, turned on the tub because I like everything very hot. And I went to get a towel. Um, and then I heard the water go and it shut off. So my grandfather and I didn't really have much of a relationship when he was alive.
Mhm.
But for 2 years, we were like BFFs in my apartment. I'd come home, there'd be like a screw spinning, the lights were flickering. I have videos of everything.
Wow.
So, but it also opened the channel to other things. So I'm able to, if somebody puts their hands on mine and somebody, they want to talk to somebody that's deceased, I will be able to conduct the conversation, which is
Amazing.
really crazy because you don't, when you're in that position, you don't, you're talking, but you are not talking. That person is talking, and that person is asking saying things to me, and I would ask the other person questions like da da da, and it just, all of this happened once my grandfather passed away, but I had little hints of it growing up.
Yes.
So
Well,
but
that's
yeah, that's
amazing.
part of the Scorpio family. I read tarot cards as well.
Yes. And that's wonderful that you're embracing those gifts. I think it's really, for me, I've always had prophetic dreams. I've often been very psychic, and there are times where I'll say things and I have no idea where it's coming from, and then someone will be like, "How do you know that?" You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah, that's another dimension. So you probably have like the medium. You probably have that gift as well. And I spent some time developing it, but it can be very dangerous if you don't know how to control it, because I would be woken up in the middle of the night and I would feel an energy around me, and not everybody that visits you is light. So
Right.
it's very, you have to tell them to leave. And
Yes.
if you tell them to leave, they have to go.
They have to go.
So
I've done house clearings and that kind of thing. And having that kind of spiritual hygiene is the way I
yeah,
think is really important, right? Because you have to
yeah,
be very discerning about what you let in when you're an open channel.
yeah.
And it takes a strong incarnation, I'm going to put it that way, to embody a Scorpio life. I don't think it's for the faint of heart.
No,
I think,
no.
it's, what is that saying? With great power comes great responsibility, right?
That is true. That is true. And you also, I don't know if all Scorpios are healers and teachers, but they all possess like a very strong energy, and it attracts different partners. Usually attracts narcissists, from my
I've
experience.
had that experience too.
Yeah, yeah. So that you, because of your power, you attract actually weaker partners because they want to kind of latch on to you in a
Yep.
way.
Well, and that, you were describing that sensitivity. That's really the classic empath, right?
Yes, yes,
And it
yes,
attracts the narcissist because there's the yin and yang of it. There's a balance that's seeking itself, right? But
yes.
unfortunately, we have to be careful of not taking those things on. Have
Well, yeah,
you
they
found that as a
that could be
man?
a heavy weight for sure.
Jordan, have
So,
you found that? Have you found that dynamic to be true a bit for yourself?
I yeah, up until I did like all that, energy work on myself and healing work, and I did ayahuasca a couple times. I didn't know the difference between, somebody that was a narcissist versus somebody that was like very passionate and into you, and then like it doesn't work out.
Yeah, the love
But
bombing.
but now it's very easy to spot. I feel like it definitely takes a very strong man to approach a Scorpio woman that's confident and that has her life together. I feel like men have an easier time approaching women that are a little bit more like broken or not as together, because men have this, They want to be this knight on the white horse. But
Right.
Scorpio women are just generally very strong on their own, very capable in their own. They are very resilient, and they love their independence. So if you're not attracting a narcissistic type,
Mm.
then it may take a while until you find your great match, because people will just fall off very easily when they feel like they can't measure up.
So are you
Okay.
saying that you're that some of these partners, well, are you saying that some of these partners are threatened by you initially, and it's very hard for them? Like, I'm just fascinated by the notion that, you know, strong women are inviting these strong men, and the men are then finally feeling a bit insecure. Is that what you're kind of saying? Or they present as secure, right?
Yes, yes. Narcissists present as secure, but they're often like a house of cards. So
It's all for show, right?
it is
So
all
when
for
you
show. It's
so,
about that battle of what they didn't receive as a like that unavailable parent growing up. So
so when I meet people, I don't tell them that I'm a Scorpio because that scares a lot of people. So
mhm.
I try to like really and then they might ask me, God, are you a Scorpio or something like so I'm very
What would give it away?
oh, plenty. And I don't know. I'll leave that out, but I'll just say that I think it's very interesting because I knew more about the Scorpio men. I didn't know so much about Scorpio women, right? So this is kind of like still a learning curve for me. Um, who do you find that you're often most compatible with among the signs?
Cancer for sure. Um, and I would say Virgo and Taurus.
So I found for me Cancer, Gemini, and Aquarius. Now I don't know much about astrology, but when I looked back at my dating record, if you will, um, that's where they fall typically.
Well, I find that Aquarius are often there's an initial attraction, but it's very superficial. And with Gemini as well. For me, the air signs are it's the attraction is there, but it's only superficial. And with the Taurus attraction, there's a respect. Um, and like a high intensity and a lot of attraction. And but with the Virgo and the Cancer, I find that it's a little bit softer, a little bit more loving, and a little bit more understanding with the attraction. But um, I generally like to stay in that zone.
Makes sense. I want to ask you, you use the word resilience, and that, the element of the phoenix, right? The phoenix rising is something that's often identified with Scorpio energy, of being able to be resilient and to be the phoenix from the ashes and to rise again and reinvent ourselves. I feel like I've lived multiple different lives, different
Right.
versions of myself, and, up leveling and shedding old skins. Is that something? I mean, it sounds like you have, just in terms of the career.
Oh wow, I'm a completely different person than I even was a year ago. A year ago, I feel like I'm constantly shedding layers and layers and learning more and finding more balance and more happiness. And I just think that we are born on this earth with with two souls. Like you studied Kabbalah, so we have the two souls. We have the animal soul, and then we have the godlike soul. And all of us are born with like a certain chaya. Chaya is Hebrew for animal. And if somebody asks you like, "Oh, what's your weakness?" or "What's the one thing that constantly gets in the way?" We don't have to talk about it today, but everybody has that one thing, and that one thing kind of comes with you lifetime after lifetime until you heal it.
Yeah.
I think with the Scorpio, the things that are the things that we struggle with is all surrounding that intensity, that passion, sometimes rage. I mean, I didn't really have too much of that, but I think that we all have the potential to have it. Um, but yeah, I feel like when I was younger, I was like I needed attention, and I needed, everything to be about me, and all of my need, all of the things that made me happy, they came from the outside,
Yeah.
outside. And I didn't it took me, and that's very flimsy. That's a very flimsy place to find your happiness, because you cannot control it. You cannot control others' opinions. You cannot control a lot of things from the outside that are, like, surrounding any kind of superficiality that this world possesses. So, I think that, all of my shedding had to do with me finding that happiness, and the nourishing, things that make me happy. The more stable things, they need to come from within, by healing earlier childhood trauma, by making peace, with, situations that, needed to be revisited. And then once you do that, you don't reach out for that attention. You don't get upset, like, when something doesn't go your way. You kind of like let it go, and you understand that, like, you're here on a certain path, and wherever you go, whatever happens to you is always for your greatest good. And just if you walk around in your heart space knowing that, and having control over your emotions, and how you feel, then you're unstoppable, really. So
That's such a beautiful message. Shanit,
thank
it's
you.
so lovely to talk to you. Thank you for embodying the beautiful version of Scorpio that's working as a healer, working
Yeah,
as a mind, body, and spirit for sure.
thank you.
Yeah. Shall we wrap up? Anything else, Jordan? Soul of the Scorpio.
No, I thought it was beautiful. I think you actually hit on the core of what I hope to get out of this podcast, because I learned a lot from what you guys just said today. So I appreciate it.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you, fellow Scorpios. It's such a treat to talk today.
And have a beautiful, beautiful weekend, guys.
Thank you. You
Thank
too.
thank you so
Bye.
much. Bye.
Bye. Hi.
Let me hit it.
Are you there?
Yeah,
Did
let
you?